Now, I'd like Hal Palmer to just stand up for us again. I just would like to let you know that the last board meeting, our board of directors approved to provide $1,000 toward Hal's campaign. And I wanted you to know that, you know, our club is behind him. So, get the Hal, yeah. Okay, that's great. I also have a letter of thanks here. Last week we had a letter of thank you from the Northwest Lions Foundation. And I did read that letter, and I think this one somewhat repeats the same. But this one was for the honor of Mamie Spromberg for $300, and it says 2 cents at the end. And I thought, well, maybe those 2 cents was from Mamie, you know. She wanted to get her last 2 cents in. What do you think? Bill Lundeen also signed that letter. So, you know, it's great to honor our past members.
Acting President Maryland?
Yes.
The board meeting you announced is not on the 4th Thursday. That will be next week.
Did I say the 4th Thursday? I said this Thursday, sir. I'm sorry. This coming Thursday is a board meeting.
What calendar are you looking at? We don't want any.
The 2nd and the 4th Thursday, is that right?
It's this Thursday.
The word is yes, dear.
And I want you to know President Russ is still fighting pain from his shoulder surgery, and that's why he's not here. It really interferes with his focus. Yes, and I believe I get to lead that board meeting as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, just a quickie, I want to bring Bruce Rosebrock up. Bruce Rosebrock, would you come up, please? Bruce, I know you can't be here very often, but this letter says that you've been a Lion for 20 years. So, Dr. Jitsu Hiro Yamada, International President, has presented you with this chevron for 20 years of membership. And just one more thing, Bill Ryan, would you come forward, please? We are so glad that Bill could be here today to receive his blue badge. He has obviously completed all of his requirements. So here's your blue badge, Bill. I'll trade you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So now I'd like to turn this meeting over to Leroy Purcell. He will introduce our program.
Acting President Maryland, fellow Lions, and guests. I'm happy to introduce a friend of mine who's going to be our guest speaker today. This is Joel Royce. Joel is things are falling over here. Joel is a PE teacher with Three Rivers Christian School, and he is also the owner of the Cowlitz Cobras, and that's who is here to talk about today. Joel Royce.
Hal, I have found several of your campaign signs in the office as I've been organizing the posters.
Well, cool.
And now I finally get a face with the name.
Too bad. What a disappointment.
Well, disappointment is
Oh, what do you think of the other Pat Palmer?
I thought Pat Palmer was over here, but somebody said that you had a brother by Pat Palmer. I'm glad I learned that before I said something. Well, as Leroy said, my name is Joel Royce, and I own the Cowlitz Cobras. We're a minor league football team based out of Castle Rock, and I incorporated in July of 2014. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. where I should stand over here. Maybe over here. Out of the way of the, there. See, that's much better to look at anyway. So, and I did want to say thank you for I've never been to a Lions meeting before, and so the pledge and the song we sang, I felt like I was in church for a second because half the words of the hymns, I'm like, wait, where's that hymnal? So, but it was a great song. I really appreciate that. Okay, so Cowlitz Cobras, we exist to advance participation of football beyond the secondary and post-secondary levels. We pursue excellence on and off the field to build community champions. Well, and whenever I get into a presentation or a group of people, there is always the question of relevancy. Why should you listen to what I have to say? Well, this relates to Lionism because I saw from your website that you help where help is needed in communities and around the world with integrity and energy. And you also encourage service-minded people to serve in the community without personal financial gain, without getting something out of that, serving, encouraging efficiency, promoting ethical standards, high ethical standards in the community. Well, I looked at what you guys are about, and I think that's where we're at too, in a lot of ways. I started the Cowlitz Cobras and as a response to a ministry call from church. I learned about fatherlessness. I studied the census data, and I live in Castle Rock, and in the city of Castle Rock, we have around 80 fatherless boys, and we have a population of just under 2,000 people officially. And that's not including outside of our city limits, Delameter, Westside Highway, Butler Acres, or Green Acres. So I see that as a major problem. And I've worked with teens and youth for a long time, and I see a big problem in our area with drug use and abuse, alcohol abuse, prescription drug abuse. When I was serving as a youth pastor in Castle Rock, one of the things that Castle Rock PD and I talked about and dealt with all the time was prescription drug abuse and different things like that. And so there's a sense of anger and violence that's a part of our county here in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas. And so in dealing with these issues with integrity and energy, I look at this football, this sport. Football is huge in America, and I think it's huge here. And I love football, and I love working with kids. So one of the things that we do as the Cobras organization is we build community champions. And what that looks like is we have an opportunity for men to come and play football. And most of the guys on my squad right now are fatherless. And they're really angry. Fatherless boys are angry guys. And so what football does is give them a way to express that anger that they have in a healthy way. Because you can play angry, but you have to play within the confines of the rules. And you also have to be accountable to be on my team. Last Saturday was our player fee deadline. If you don't have your player fee paid, you can't practice with my team. And that's going to be, there's like 20 guys that haven't paid, 22 have paid, and they can't practice because they have to be accountable to be on the team. And so it teaches them accountability, it teaches them discipline. Also, I did some research into it. With drug users and abusers, there's actually an inverse correlation between drug use and abuse and physical activity, physical exertion. So as you work out harder and do physical labor or things like that physically, the percentage and instances of drug abuse and use actually goes down in an inverse correlation. It's fascinating. And I see that with one of the guys on my squad, and he comes to my presentations sometimes, but he graduated Castle Rock in 2005, was the Daily News Player of the Year for the state of Washington Preps, West Coast. And he was going to go to university, and he lost his opportunity to play ball. He's been struggling. But this team has kind of brought things into focus for him, and I can tell you right now that he is definitely still a very awesome athlete. I play linebacker, and he's a defensive tackle, and I love having him in front of me because nobody hits me on the second level. It's great. But beyond that, he's also probably the hardest working man on the team, and he doesn't want to let us down. And it's helping him overcome his addiction. And he's just doing awesome right now. So with integrity, ethical standards, having accountability, discipline, building community champions with excellence, that's what we're about. And I want to encourage men in Cowlitz County to serve. A lot of guys want to take, and they'll come and play football for free, but I'm not running a charity. It's a nonprofit organization, but it's not a charity. You have to pay your way to play. And also, as a part of that, I want the guys to serve and to be involved. As you connect with us, you get playtime on the radio. I have radio sponsorship. We have a sport magazine that we're working on, banners that get put up. We're a safe, family-friendly alternative in the spring and summertime for you to come and watch the game. It's $5 at the gate, $12 and under to get in free. If you're military, show your ID, you also get in free. And that also is extended to officers and fire personnel. We give them a Gatorade or a concession as a way to say thank you for their service. And I provide service opportunities. So I connect and network in the county. We worked with Habitat for Humanity last year at one of their work sites. I try to give them as many opportunities as possible and encourage them and challenge them as solid guys to give back to the community. And so I'll come back to that in a second, but just last year, just some highlights of what we did. Just going to quickly go through these. Last year we partnered with the Wounded Warrior Project. We handed out lots of their materials, we raised some money for them, and we're a proud partner with them in 2015. Moving forward, we're trying to get more local, moving away from a national brand. So we were looking at Fallen Heroes. I think the Fallen Outdoors is a local group here that we're thinking about working with. If you know of anyone or a local VFW type of a connection, we'd love to get tied into a local military aid for vets. The national thing is great, but I really feel like our thing is Cowlitz County. Pop Warner, we have kids out at halftime. Our goal this year is to have every game, we have 5 home games, have kids out at halftime to play ball and bring their families out. This was from our Pop Warner game last year. They did flag football at halftime. You can't really see on the picture, but several of my guys are in a picture with them because they coach those kids. We also participate in the National Night Out. It's a nationwide community awareness thing for police to promote positive relations with police and service personnel. It was really cool this year in Castle Rock. They brought the Bearcat out, the SWAT vehicle. Kids are crawling all in through that and throwing a football around with the kids. We had 4 different communities that we participated in: Ridgefield, Castle Rock, Kelso, and Longview. Then this is a highlight from last year. We did a Team Claudia, Fight Like a Girl Team Claudia event. I contacted the owner of our opponent, and we all wore pink accessories, and we're all proud of that because Claudia is fighting stage 4 cancer. She lives in Tootle, and we used all of the proceeds from the game to give to her in her fight against cancer. It was about $700. And all of the proceeds from the gate and everything we did, we took a collection. They were honorary captains. You can kind of see Saul and Claudia there on the field as we're heading out to go do the coin toss. And afterwards, Saul kind of jokes. He's like, "Man, you guys are giants out here, man." He's like looking up at us like, but it was awesome to have her out there. Oh, and I'm happy to report too. Claudia has been fighting her cancer. They didn't expect her to make it 8 months. It's been 9 months. Her brain tumors have disappeared and the tumors in her liver have disappeared. She still has tumors in her bone and both bone cancer, but she's a woman of faith and we pray for her every game. Every time it comes up, I pray for her. And I wear my pink socks even when I teach PE class and the kids make fun of me and I drop the emotional bomb. Yeah, I wear it for a lady who's dying of cancer. It's all in fun though. The kids they respond to it. And I share with them as we go. Burgerville Partnerships, we work with Burgerville. We raise money through that. On our guys giving back, several of my guys on the squad, they coach, they give back to the community. I'm working with the Longview YMCA right now with the CEO to put together a football fundamentals camp for kids, and we're trying to make that be a feeder kind of program for the Longview Parks and Rec flag football league that they have. And so we're going to just teach heads-up fundamentals, how you square up, how you break down, how you make tackles, that kind of thing. But I'm waiting to hear back on scheduling from her. Letters of recommendation. My dad taught me that whenever you leave a place, you leave it in as good a condition or better than the way you found it. And so that is my philosophy in business. And so we have a letter of recommendation from Ridgefield High School. They're commending us to any school district that be willing to host us as a team playing on their facility. Burgerville has also sent us a letter of recommendation for their interactions with us, my players being at the locations in Kelso and Woodland. And we have a good reputation where we go because of the way we do things. Well, and what about this? Who cares about minor league football anyway? What's the big deal? It costs a lot of money. We do a lot of driving. Our first game is in Medford in April. and that's our farthest game. It's an out-of-league play. It's a preseason game. That's a long way to go. And you know what? We're paying $200 a head to come play football. And I can think of a lot better things to do with $200, and I will feel better after Saturday's over physically. Because as I found as I'm in my 30s, it takes me a couple of extra days to get feeling okay again. And anyways. I always kind of run into that, but I'm telling you, it's a young man's game. That is the true story. That is true. And I play linebacker, so I get a lot of contact. But again, there is a need in our community for mentoring. There's a need for some kind of outlet that is not what everybody else has. We have a unique way of meeting this need in the community, and that's through football and through being on a team. And it involves a lot of people. If I had 45 guys on my team, that's 45 families. That's a cheerleading squad that just incorporated this last year. They're a nonprofit. They just had their first practice Monday. All of their families, there's 12 cheerleaders on the squad. That's a lot of people brought around from different places in the county. And it's a collision sport, like Peyton Manning says. It's a collision sport that can provide a healthy venue for young men to learn discipline, self-control, anger management, accountability. It's fun, it's affordable, and we make a difference in the lives of our guys and in our community. We make a difference. I can see it in my guys. I can see it in the way that they interact and how they rise to the challenge. Not everybody does rise to the challenge. Guys will slop off and they'll not step up. And yet, you usually can tell who those guys are about after the first practice that you have pads on, whether they're going to show up or not. So the cost of this thing, it's not free, like I said. I'm not running a charity. I charge my guys $200 a head to come and play for the Cowlitz Cobras, and that looks like pays for uniforms. And so you see here, $180 a uniform, that's what it cost last year. And this is the total cost of the entire package last year was about $16,000. And obviously, $8,500 was that from the player fees. So we have to do a lot of fundraising. We're community dependent. And so as you look at this, I want to emphasize to you that it's not just about playing the game, it's also about being a part of the community. And this is why I'm so huge into the idea that we leave things in as good or better condition than we got there. Because we are community supported. And without the support of the community, this can't happen. We can't make it happen. I don't make enough money as a teacher and a pastor to provide the financing for this to happen. So it's totally dependent on having a good reputation and doing business right and being a part of the community. And so it's a package deal. So the cost, this was the income last year from the player fees, the gate money, the sponsors that we had. So you see it's about $14,000. So we had about $2,000 to raise out of pocket to cover everything this last year, which we were able to do through Burgerville, and I had to front a little bit out of my own pocket to make it happen. These are our projections for this next year, just over $16,000 because the league fee increased. The WWFA, or the Western Washington Football Alliance, has 15 teams in it this year. We're the largest minor league football organization in the Northwest. And last year we had 9 teams, and we grew this year to 15 teams. And the league fee went up because we added what's called a huddle account, which is a way that we share film and we can look at it and share it with our players and coaches and throughout the league, and that costs. The platform has a setup cost. Field rental is actually cheaper in the scale for minor league football. In Portland or Vancouver, it takes about $1,000 per game. It's about $700 a game. Now on this field thing, and this is my challenge, and this is why I'm hooked in the ground and why I'm wanting to come and talk with you people, is because we can't get a field in Cowlitz County. We can't get a field. I've been trying to get a field here for 2 years. And there are 2 reasons that I always come into. Every school, I've spoken to every single athletic director and or superintendent in Cowlitz County in the last 2 years, at least once. And every single one of them had 1 or 2 of these reasons. The first reason is understandable that the grass is in the restoration time in the spring. My biggest player is 6'2", 415 pounds. He's a defensive tackle. And he's an excellent player. When him and Wes Coates are in front of me, I tell you what, it's like nothing comes up the middle. There's a lot of man meat in front of me right here, okay? 760 pounds of man. It's awesome. So, but with that, we tear up the field. It's hard on a field. So I mean, it's totally and most of the fields, as you know, in Cowlitz County, that they're past replacement dates. So that's an understandable. But the other reason is, one athletic director specifically said to me, "We don't want the kind of guy here that semi-pro attracts." And that's the thing, because when you have guys coming out and not paying for stuff and no accountability, because a lot of semi-pro, what I've found, because there's not any money in it, it's not really professional, what I've found is that there is a lot of shady things that can happen. In fact, there was a team here before called the Washington Cavaliers. Some of you might have heard of them. And they didn't leave in the best way. I mean, they got some good guys in their organization. They're still in our league. But there are some challenges, all right? Some real challenges. I mean, somebody stole a helmet out of a locker, vandalized the locker. Last year, at one of our home games in Ridgefield, 2 players from the Bengals were actually smoking marijuana in the parking lot. And so I'm just like, you guys, are you serious? So what do? Call the police immediately, and I contact the school directly and say, hey, this is what happened, this is what we did. To which Danny Taylor, the facilities manager, was like, hey, it sounds like you guys handled it right. Thanks for letting us know. I mean, she just expected me to handle it that way or something. And so my question is, so a guy like me, a board like ours, no, we're doing things differently. We're unique. We're handling business in a way that has integrity with high ethical standards. And we are looking for a field in the county. We're not those kind of guys. And those kind of guys don't make it on my team. I cut 2 players in the last year and a half and 1 coach for not meeting our player conduct policy. They have to have, even if they don't have integrity, it's kind of like, you know, my house, my rules. I don't care if you like to listen to that kind of music, but in my house you're not going to. It's kind of like that. That's the beauty of making your own organization. You can set the rules. So if you want to be on my team, you might not agree with it, but you have to at least be a part of what we're doing publicly. So we're not going to be playing profane music, you know, at practice because it's a public facility. We're not going to make that happen. You don't take your 4-year-old to an R-rated movie. All right, it's like common sense. All right, so if we can't get a field in the county, if we can't get a school to partner with us, then you know what? I raised $16,000 roughly working through my own efforts. And I have a friend who's an architect, who's an architectural designer. He lives in Castle Rock, and he designed a stadium for me. And this is actually drawn up for a site in Longview, and it would fit there. And I've done some research into this. The field turf cost $660,000. The grandstand construction is probably another $200,000 to $400,000. And but I've built 2 rooms on my house as a general contractor. I believe in what we're doing, and if I can do 16, some people look at it and say, wow, that's impossible, there's no money in this. I don't look at it as an impossibility. I look at it as an opportunity to do something awesome that has never been done before, that I know of. This is a unique thing. And Cowlitz Cobras, home of the Cowlitz Cobras, right in the middle of Longview. I mean, I just envision us having something bigger than football that can address some of the issues that we're facing in our community. So that's my dream, that's my presentation, and at this point I'd like to just open it up. If you have any questions for me, I have some business cards, and I also have my last vision and sponsor packet that I can pass around that just kind of outlines a little more detail what we're doing and what we accomplished last year. But at this point, any questions? Yeah.
Have you approached the Longview Soccer Club? Because your green could mesh quite well with them. So their dream is the turf field.
Yeah, I have not met with them in specifics. But I know that field is a possible site on 7th.
But their dream is the turf field.
Right.
Turf field.
Right. I can tell you that I have to hook the ground a lot to meet with business owners to get sponsors, and as I've talked with people about this, I know a couple of people have said, if you got into something with a field where we did something as a group effort, I'd get into that financially. If you had a contact, I would be happy to follow through on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Where are the other teams that you're signing?
The question was, where are the other teams that we play? We're up and down the I-5 corridor. There's 5 Tacoma area teams. There's a team in Puyallup, 2 in Snohomish County. So we just drive up and down. We do a lot of traveling. Right now, like I said, our home field is Ridgefield, but hopefully we can get up here. My goal has never been to play at Ridgefield, although we have a great relationship with them. They're very understanding. In fact, Danny Taylor, because we're in a rental agreement with them, right? If she said, as long as you give me more than 24 hours notice, then you guys, we totally understand why you want to go. And so we are on really good terms, open communication with them. Yeah.
Where do you practice?
Yeah. Where do we practice at? Right now, we practice at Woodland Primary School. We were on the main practice facility, but they booted us off of there because of the recovery time of the field. And now we're on the primary field, which is kind of hilly and mole-hilly and muddy. Really sloshy. Yeah.
Is that good?
Any other questions? All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Joel. Joel, we would like to honor you with this mug and also a membership application. In case you really like us, you can come back.
Okay.
And we just want to thank you for coming.
Okay, well, thank you for...
Here.
All right.